So, with Christmas just a few days away, when you end up watching this, that is, let's talk about the five, in my own personal opinion, Christmas specials that you should be watching around this time of year. Now, these are just five that I recommend because to me, they have the most rewatchable value, no matter what. And it's also the fact that even though I did grow up on the Rankin Bass stuff and all that, some of that is in here too, but most of these are ones that have, well, basically the kind that you can even share with the kids of today if you do have kids, I should say, of your own. So these are the five, in my opinion, five animated Christmas specials you should be watching at this time of year. Now, of course, I had to put Jolly Molly Christmas on here at some place, and of course, unfortunately, to some that know my love for this episode of the special, it's at number five. The reason being is because it's not typically a special in a sense, but it's a special episode. It falls kind of under that category where it's a regular episode that, believe it or not, would get rerun throughout the entire year, even the spring and the summer, and even after Christmas, but was mainly part of Christmas when it first debuted. It was an episode that actually debuted, I think, around November, December, late October, I should say. Basically, late October throughout December is when it debuted on Tailspin as part of the Disney Afternoon. In the way you knew that this was a special episode, even though, like I said, it was still rerun throughout the entire regular run of the show, was due to the title card that you saw at the beginning here. The one thing about Tailspin that they would do when it came to a special episode, whether it was just a special episode they wanted to throw out there, or in this case, a special holiday themed episode, is they would use these title cards for those for the title, basically to tell you what the episode was, what the title of it was, and all that. And mainly, this episode, in my opinion, is basically one of the best Christmas episodes, special episodes that has ever been done. And on top of that, it did begin to trend to where every Disney afternoon show after that would present a Christmas episode in the rotation. Now, just like Tailspin, they would eventually rotate in reruns those Christmas episodes even throughout certain parts of the year where it wasn't necessarily needed to be seen due to the fact that it was a Christmas episode or special. But basically, in the end, Tailspin was, like I said, the reason this all began. I mean, this is the reason why the following year in Darkwing Duck we had It's a Wonderful Leaf. This is why after that we had Have Yourself a Goofy Little Christmas. This is why we had Bonkers Milk on 31st Street, or 34th Street, I should say, or 34th Precinct is what it's called. You know, that's why we had those Christmas episodes that came afterwards. Heck, we even had a Christmas-related short with Timon and Pumbaa in their series. I mean, this is also why, you had 101 Dalmatians do Christmas Cruella. This is why you had Recess and Pepper Ann and even Doug do their Christmas stuff. All because of the fact that Tailspin, in my opinion, began that with this special episode, Jolly Molly Christmas. Now, again, like I said, when it first started, it was aired between late October, early December, because of the time of the year. And for a while, it was only shown during that time of year, but then later on started getting, rotated into the regular syndicated or rerun rotation for the show. But to me, this right here, Jolly Molly Christmas, is probably one of the best Christmas episodes, related specials that you can watch at this time of year. I mean, the story itself is great. I mean, Molly wants to give her mom the one thing that her mom, Rebecca Cunningham, has not had since she was a kid, and that's to see it snow once again, due to the fact that where they are, Cape Suzette is basically like Hawaii in certain parts of California and even Texas, where basically snow in certain parts of those regions is a no-go. But yeah, that's basically the premise. Molly wants Santa to make it snow for her mom once again as a Christmas gift from her to her mom, I should say. But yeah, definitely check out Jolly Molly Christmas. I know I stumbled a little bit, trying to describe, what it's about and what, came after it because of it. But yeah, check out Jolly Molly Christmas. I don't think you'll regret it. Yeah, I know. I put this on the movies of the month in the previous video that you saw yesterday, which would be the the 21st. Uh, but of course, this I'm going to put at number 4 because I do enjoy it. It's something that I should have watched on the 13th, on Sunday, December 13th, that is. But it's something that I thoroughly enjoy and I'm also glad to have a physical copy of VHS, recordable, and Blu-ray wise. Um, for any time I want to watch it during the year or during Christmas time. And that, of course, is, as the picture showed you at the beginning, Charlie Brown Christmas. Now, Charlie Brown Christmas, of course, as you know, began in 1961. It was the first animated special based on a comic strip, as far as we know, and the rest is history. And this is one of the most celebrated, if not beloved, Christmas specials out there. Even to the point that when everybody thought it was going to be not seen this year due to the fact that the Apple Corporation, had made the deal with the Peanuts Corporation to air all the specials and also be the exclusive home for new shows and all that in the future and new specials in the future. A lot of fans were outraged. Families were outraged. They made it be known. They put out petitions. The news caught wind of it. And because of that, Apple said, okay, fine, we'll make a deal with PBS and we'll air 2 of the 3 holiday specials that originally are aired on television on PBS and, commercial free. And that's what happened. It started with Charlie Brown Thanksgiving last month, and it continued on the 13th of this month with Charlie Brown Christmas. And again, this is one of those specials that has been a tradition with families that even if you can't catch the broadcast for that year on television, if you have a physical copy on hand, probably Blu-ray or 4K or DVD, you can pop it in, schedule a watch time with your kids and your family, and go from there and just have a great time watching it. Again, the special, like I said, began in 1961. And as I mentioned in the movies of the month for this month, if you go on YouTube, I should say, you could see comparisons between the original broadcast and the broadcast of today, and see some of the big differences, like the opening with the kids skating in the original broadcast back in 61, and for the past several years after that is extended. You see an extension of Snoopy swinging around Charlie Brown and Linus with the blanket. Charlie Brown, of course, going into the tree with the snow falling on him and the title coming up on the screen after that. But then you transition back over to Snoopy swinging Linus around, and Linus is thrown into a like I said, Linus is thrown into a danger thin ice sign, which gets replaced by, a sponsorship of Coca-Cola. You get to go on YouTube and you would see those differences between the original broadcast of the first few years, if not the first a decade or so of the special, and the original one, or the one that's being done today. So, yeah, big difference in a way from the original broadcast. Like I said, big difference between the broadcast of then and now, because, like I said, for the first decade or so, you had that sponsorship, you had that extended scene. So again, go on YouTube and you'll see the big difference there. But like I said, this special has always been a tradition with a lot of families for many years, for many generations. And again, like I said, with the And, the idea that it may not air on television this year due to Apple's, deal that they have with the corporation or the company that owns Peanuts, they will not a lot of families that grew up on it were thrilled, and they made it be known to the point that, like I said, news corporations and all that caught wind of it, and Apple's like, okay, fine, we'll make this deal with PBS, and the rest is history. But overall, Charlie Brown Christmas is one of those specials that, there is just a simplicity to it that, you realize that it's only going to be 22 to 30 minutes, but it's 22 to 30 minutes that goes by like that, but you get so much out of it. And it's got a history behind it as well, for the fact that one of the things that it did in 1961 that was kind of looked at as being taboo was talk about the meaning, the real meaning of Christmas. And, a lot of people felt that that was kind of taboo for that time period. And that was probably one of the reasons at first that Charles Schwartz wasn't able to get the special on the air until I guess he finally convinced something happened. I can't recall, but something happened to where it was able to finally be put on the air, and the rest is history. But yeah, I think they had to fight for it to get put on the air due to the fact that, one of the thing I think one of the reasons that you were trying to fight for is, the networks wanted Charles Schwartz to take out the part where Linus talks about the true meaning of Christmas, but Charles Schwartz is like, no, I'm keeping it in. Because he's a Christian himself. He was a Christian himself, and so is his family. So that's why it was kept in there. And it's still kept in there to this day. And again, it's just one of those moments that when you look back at the history of it, you get a better appreciation for what the special is, for what it's about, and basically basically a lot of the behind the scenes issues it had to go through. So here number 4 is Charlie Brown Christmas, one of them that I highly recommend you watch. So at number 3 is Have Yourself a Goofy Little Christmas from Goof Troop. Now, I mentioned Jolly Molly earlier, and Jolly Molly was the reason this also got off the ground. But the difference between this, Wonderful Leaf, which was Darkwing Duck, Jolly Molly on Tailspin, and even afterwards, Bonkers Miracle on the 34th Precinct, was the fact that this was a prime time presentation. Now, I don't know if Darkwing had the same presentation a year prior, but I do know this one had a primetime presentation in syndication. I don't think it was on ABC, but it was in syndication. It was basically like one of those specials that every year for the next few years after it came out, you were looking forward to and seeing in syndication. Like it was one of those that Disney would take aside and say, no, we're not putting this in regular rotation. We're going to air this in prime time. It wouldn't be until years later when Goof Troop would end up on Disney Channel and then Toon Disney where the regular rotation would occur with this episode. Because I remember one time tuning in during the summer and Have Yourself a Goofy Little Christmas came on like it was a regular episode, which was a surprise. But this is definitely a good episode because it deals with a lot of real life issues. And it's so significant in the way it was presented that this year when they did the holiday sing-along for Disney on ABC, one of the clips, because they were using animated clips to go along with some of the songs the artists were singing that were part of that. And one of the clips they showed was Max and Goofy from this special, which really was a huge surprise to me. I'm like, wait a minute, whoa, that was Goof Troop. But yeah, it definitely shows the significance this had. And the fact that, in a sense, it was a part musical. It was partially kind of a musical, in a sense, due to the reindeer dance and then the singing of Silent Night, Holy Night at the end. But it's just a really good special because, like I said, one of the things it deals with is what a lot of us deal with, in real life, even if you're a parent. And that is trying to keep Christmas special for your child, no matter how old they get. And we kind of see this kind of, storytelling kept between Goofy and Max further along the lines in, let's say, Mickey's Twice Upon a Christmas. We see it there, that just like we see it here, where Goofy wants to make or keep Christmas special for Max no matter what. Because I think the one thing about Goofy in any of these stories with Max, especially Goofy Movie, Extremely Goofy Movie, Twice Upon a Christmas, or even here with Have Yourself a Goofy Little Christmas, is the fact that he still views Max as a kid. I mean, remember that one scene in Goofy Movie where he tells Max, I'm going to take you someplace pretty special, and he's squinting his eyes a little bit before they enter the Boston Park? It makes you wonder if maybe Goofy is viewing Max by squinting like that like a little kid. Like instead of seeing the 15, 16-year-old son next to him, he's seeing a kid going, rattling his, rattling his rattle in his hand and a pacifier in his mouth. It makes you wonder. And Watso, Isaac Carlson of Watso videos, maybe that's something you should look into perhaps for a future video. But anyway, though, like I said, the premise is great. The comedy is great in here, there's no doubt. It's just an overall really good special that I'm surprised Disney Plus doesn't have on as part of the Goof Troop lineup. But I do recommend you check it out if you can find it. It's really, really good. So next up here, this obviously is not a surprise to anybody, but I'm sure it's a surprise to some of you that it's not like the top one. But, well, second special that I recommend watching is one that came out very recently, and everybody that's a fan of MLP or not a fan of MLP has said this is a special that they're going to go back and watch during the holiday season, and that is Best Gift Ever. And what can I say about Best Gift Ever that I haven't said already, that others haven't said already, except the fact that you need to check this out. It's really good. I mean, the effort that was put into it, the moments that you're given, it's just overall a good special. I mean, the plot line of the fact that Applejack suggests the fact that they go the Secret Santa, or in their case, Heartwarming Helper route, to make it easier for all of them to get gifts for the season, or for each other, you know, it's basically that synopsis that they're doing that, you know, is a story in itself worth rewatching. I mean, the fact that each character that takes part in this has a focal point in the episode. You know, I have to give credit to the creative team. Is really well done. I mean, you have Twilight being focused on for a gift for Pinkie, Pinkie for Twilight, Rarity for Applejack, Spike for Rarity, Fluttershy for Rainbow Dash for Fluttershy, along with the help of Discord. You, you know, Applejack for Spike. It's just amazing. And then you add in the inclusion of, you get some character development with Candace, or Cadence, I should say, in Shining Armor in this special. You get their involvement, and you got yourself a recipe for a great special to watch over and over every Christmas season, whether you're a fan or you're not a fan. And the music is great. I mean, if you're tired of musicals and all that, don't worry. This is not a kind of musical that's going to be like, oh my gosh, well, we're going to get song after song after song. No, they actually calm it down. You get a song at the beginning, you get a song at the end. And that's great. And if you're a fan of a certain couple, if you know what I mean, a ship, then you'll definitely appreciate the song at the end, especially that portion of it before you get into the other portion. But overall, Best Gift Ever, again, I've said what I had to already on it, and it's something that I do recommend you guys check out, even if you're not a fan of MLP, because it is worth watching. It's on Netflix right now. I think it's on demand on Discovery Family, and obviously they will be re-airing it as we get closer to Christmas as well. But definitely check it out. It's worth watching. And of course, at number one is the one that really got me into the Christmas specials a lot as a kid, the 1964 classic Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Now I know some of you are probably saying, well, what is Sonic Christmas Blast? I'll put it to you like this. Consider Sonic Christmas Blast an honorable mention, but Rudolph, in my opinion, is the one that's number one, and I'm sure it's the number one in a lot of people's eyes, because for a lot of us, it's what got us into the Rankin Bass stuff as far as holiday specials go, but it also introduced us originally to Rudolph as a character and made Rudolph a household name for a lot of us growing up. And I remember as a kid watching it, every Christmas. In fact, my older sister has commented that when we were kids and this would come on, she would think the next day was Christmas, even though it wasn't. But yeah, what can you say about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the Rankin Bass special, that has not already been said? It is a special that is so good that Good Times Entertainment tried to basically replicate it through a CGI sequel called The Island of Misfit Toys, which was okay, but they could have done a little bit better. I mean, I enjoyed it. I have a copy of it, but again, they could have done a lot better. But the point is, what can you say about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the 1964 special, that no one else has already said? It's a timeless classic. Now, true, if I'm CBS and I'm Rankin Bass and I'm Classic Media and DreamWorks, I do what I can to basically fix those audio issues when it comes to the special when it gets aired on television, because to be honest, those audio issues are very noticeable. I mean, you hear I mean, basically what I'm talking. You hear like a warping sound a little bit during certain scenes, and that's to be expected because this was done on film, and it's hard to kind of keep something like this film preserved and everything. And I'm sure when they finally decided to remaster it, put it on DVD and Blu-ray, that they knew they were going to not have the best quality. But hopefully, DreamWorks, I think now that they own the rights to Classic Media, will step in and say, let's fix this, let's make it more streamlined and more, better on the ears, if you will, when it comes to the sound. But besides that, being a nitpick, overall the special is just great. Again, a lot of people have talked about it and said, their piece about it and why it's tremendous, why it's one of the best out there today, and why everybody should go out of the way and watch it. I mean, honestly, when I was working at Walmart during the time I was there, they released a digibook on Blu-ray of this special for its 50th anniversary. That should tell you something. A digibook. So, yeah, again, I can't say any more than what people have said about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer than the fact that you need to see this special. You need to see it, and that's all I'm going to say. You need to see it. So there you go, guys. The 5 recommended Christmas specials that I highly recommend you watch during the Christmas year that are rewatchable on any occasion. Now, I know I probably left out a lot, and I do apologize for that. Consider them honorable mentions like Sonic Christmas Blast, Mickey's Christmas Carol, Frosty the Snowman, Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Consider them some honorable mentions because they are good too. But these 5, in my opinion, are the kind that you will be able to rewatch anytime during the Christmas season, maybe even any time of the year, whenever you feel like it. So, thank you all for watching, and take care, and I will see you later. Have a good night, and I am out.